SportsBeat is brought to you by Ken Garth. We hear you.
Day 32 without live sports. The struggle is real, but SportsBeat's still here. JJ and Sam with you as always. For the next 45 minutes, we have a great show tonight. Scott Mitchell continues to prepare us for the NFL draft. He's showing us why Jalen Johnson and Lecky Fotu will get selected in 2 weeks.
But we're going to start with the Utah Jazz and the latest on the drama, if there is any, between Rudy and Donovan. Reports came out earlier this week that the relationship between Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell had been damaged to the point that it was unsalvageable. There had not been much, if any, communication with one another since they tested positive for COVID-19 more than 3 weeks ago. But today, Rudy speaks. He joined Bleacher Report's Taylor Rooks on Instagram Live for a conversation that probably brought some ease to Jazz Nation. She said afterwards that she was surprised Rudy suggested they go live with the chat, which gave her the opportunity to put him on the spot and ask how things were going between him and Donovan.
It's true that we didn't speak for a while after this, but we did spoke a few days ago. And, you know, like I said, we both ready to go out there and try to win a championship for this team. You know, it's not about being a professional, and, you know, everyone got different relationships. Everyone got, you know, it's never perfect. Married people that are married, you know, it's never perfect. So, you know, me and my teammate, no, it's not. It's far from perfect. But at the end of the day, we both want the same thing, and it's winning. And, you know, and we both grown men, and we're both gonna do what it takes to win.
Jazzman Mike Conley participating in the Horse Challenge on ESPN. He went up against WNBA legend and Hall of Famer Tamika Catchings. Mountain Mike used his skill with both hands to his advantage. That's pretty impressive with his right hand. He's a lefty. His left-handed shooting from that corner three was awesome. His winning basket was the behind-the-backboard layup with his hand. The offhand, he advances to the semifinals where he'll face Chauncey Billups. Well, ESPN's horse tournament got us thinking, what are the best horse shots in Utah Jazz history?
Yeah, this is fun. Horse is a game that anyone who's ever shot a basketball has probably played, so why not make this the topic for this week's Top 5, of course, with a Jazz twist. Donovan Mitchell's rookie season against the Pelicans. Ducks under Anthony Davis' outstretched arm floats just long enough to get that reverse to go up and in.
Everyone tries to go over the backboard in their driveway. Well, Kyle Korver did it in a game against LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Remember the Sundiata Gaines game? Well, just before that, 5 seconds left. Kyle Korver with a clutch horse shot. The Jazz badly needed to get that win.
We saw a few of those shots today in the horse competition. Well, this one's just ridiculous. Paul Millsap getting tripped up in the lane and then just flips it up and in. This shot came against the New Orleans Hornets back in 2011. I mean, just look at this.
Let's
Crazy.
turn things up one notch. Jeff HORNACEK has to be on this list, of course. We'll break the rules and show 2 of his best horse shots. This one against the Rockets in the 1995 playoffs. It would be tough to duplicate. He had another one even better in the 2000 NBA playoffs against the Seattle Supersonics. A no-look behind-the-back spinner. Seriously?
Jeff Hornacek. All right, this is without a doubt an unbeatable horse shot. Trevor Booker beating the shot clock by batting the ball over his head and in just before the buzzer. That's the #1 Utah Jazz horse shot on our list.
Love, fade again. It is caught. Blitz coming. A nice got him, and he drops him.
And he gallops into history. Zach Moss.
And they take it away. Touchdown.
Throwing. Intercepted. It's picked off in the flat. That's Francis Bernard. Intercepted Julian Blackman. 20, 15, 10-5. Touchdown.
Our preview of the 2020 NFL Draft continues this week. Scott Mitchell is back to break down another Utah defensive back, so many of them. Jalen Johnson, 2-time first-team All-Pac-12, an All-American. We knew he was special before he enrolled at Utah. He had a 3-year plan to make it to the NFL, Scott, and mission accomplished. What makes this guy so special?
Well, we can start with star coverage. Okay, so star coverage is when you have a great defensive back who gets his job is to cover the very best wide receiver on the other team. And there's a lot of good wide receivers in the Pac-12. When you can do that, when you have a player of Jalen's talent, it makes everything so much easier. And that's what he's done. But let me tell you why he's so good, all right? He has this great ability to change of direction, right?
Yeah.
You want a guy that can change direction. So he's this guy right up here at top. So he gives the guy an outside move, and he moves to the outside, and then the receiver breaks into the inside. So he's out of position, but he's really not out of position. The ball's thrown on time, and he's still right there to break up the pass. And so he has an ability to make change of direction, which is what you want to see in a DB. And what's great about Jalen is he's a premium. Cornerbacks, cover cornerbacks are really good, and he's really good in press coverage. The other thing about him that is just like crazy good is this guy has speed, okay? He doesn't just have breakaway speed, he has like recovery speed. So here's two really good examples. All right, so he's reading the pass, sees the quarterback, breaks on it. Terrible decision, terrible pass by the quarterback, but he's off to the races, okay? Everyone has an angle. The quarterback actually had an angle on him, and as you watch him run a 100-yard dash down the field, he blows by everyone, okay? So you can see that. It shows up over and over on the film. He's got speed. He ran a 4.540 at the combine, and it really bode well for him. So this one, he's coming to the inside, and then he readjusts himself, and he gets the guy. Do you have any idea how hard that is to do? You're going one direction, you've stopped, now you have to turn around and go all the other way. Look, he's going in here, and then he sees it just at the last second, and he redirects, and he pops to the outside, but he has the speed to recover. And that's what you want to see on a defensive back. Lateral recovery speed, because that's what's going to happen as a defensive back. All right, so then he's got this great awareness. He's just a guy you can see, like that pass we just saw against Stanford was good. But here he is down here at the bottom of the screen. It's 3rd and 15, okay? The quarterback starts to scramble. Bad idea. A lot of guys will jump up and attack because you just instinctively do it, but he understands situations. So he has an awareness on the field, and he keeps retreating. So he's down here at the bottom, and he's kind of leveled off, and he's not. And then the quarterback starts to scramble, and the instinct is to step up, and he stays back, and he puts himself in a position to make the play. And you'll see this over and over again, where when he makes interceptions, they're always super athletic. He goes up to get the ball. He moves extremely well. All right, so here's another thing that I like about him is a toughness. When you're a defensive back who you think, well, he may be fast, he's right down here again, and he's on a blitz, okay? Most DBs are they do the prairie dog.
Yeah.
They duck and like try to avoid contact.
Yes.
But he comes in here, number one, extremely aggressive. Herbert ducks and dives, and he goes and gets him. That's a guy that's a 6'5" quarterback. Tough kid.
Yeah.
So if he's a press guy that not only has good press skills, but he's tough, man, you really have something special. And those are kind of some of those intangibles. And then he's just a guy that makes plays. If anyone on the Utah defense over the last couple of years, he's a guy that's just made play, and they're big plays, right? It's the Deion Sanders kind of plays where, pick it off, and I'm off to the races, little juke here and there, and he scores a touchdown. And he does this over and over and over. When plays are to be had, he's going to make them. You have to throw the ball on time in the right spot if you're going to have a chance at him. Otherwise, he's going to beat you, he's going to burn you, and he's going to hurt you. Of all of the Utah players, of all the players in the draft right now, he's probably the guy. I mean, it's Jordan Love, but Jalen Johnson, because he has so much unique potential, could be a long-term guy in the NFL. And he was picked as one of the 58 guys to be recognized by the NFL draft. He's a guy that is going to make something happen on draft day and beyond. He's an athlete. You can work through and you can figure all that stuff out. Cornerbacks are a premium in the NFL. He's a premium player.
Can he be a shutdown corner in this league for a long time?
It's possible. If he's with
was in college.
If he's with the right coach who really can develop him and understand the NFL way of doing things, yeah, he can be that guy.
You can expect to see Jalen Johnson, the second player in this state, taken in the draft.
Looking forward to that. Well, when the Jazz first moved to Utah for the 1979-80 season, they won just 24 games, still the second lowest win total in franchise history to this day. They didn't win more than 30 games in any of their first 4 seasons here, but in 1984, the trajectory of the franchise made a complete 180. You might remember, we're digging into the archive for this one. This date in 1984, the Jazz clinched their first ever Midwest Division title. The 45-win season started a run of 21 straight seasons without a losing record. A day of celebration, especially in the Jazz locker room. Frank Layden getting doused with the bubbly, and former KSL sports anchor Jim Nance there getting a bit of that celebratory experience as well. Pretty cool moment.
Great moments. Let's keep the celebrating going. The final round of the 2020 Masters was supposed to take place today at Augusta. We all know why it didn't. Instead, let's honor the late Billy Casper, who won the Masters in an 18-hole playoff 50 years ago on Monday. Here are the highlights. Billy would face Gene Littler in the extra 18 holes. He used just 12 putts on the front 9. His 6-shot lead shrunk to 3, though, by the 16th hole, where Billy had this beautiful tee shot on the par 3. Oh, my goodness. That would set up this birdie shot. And the lead was back to 4 with 2 holes left. Let's go to 17, where he could all but ice it. His second shot on the par 4 hole is beautiful. That would set up this for birdie and a 6-shot lead. Now to 18, it was just a formality, a par putt in the celebration. After losing the 1969 Masters by just 1 stroke, he finally had his green jacket. Casper won the playoff by 5 strokes to win the 1970 Masters, one of 3 majors he won during his Hall of Fame career.
They gave us $20 to go out and eat. Cokie coach gave the players a $100 bill to go out and eat.
We continue our series with Utah basketball legend Arnie Ferrin, his memories of the 1947 NIT championship game between the Utes and Kentucky.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, today should have been the final round of the Masters as mentioned, but when we come back, we'll take you back to some of the great green jacket moments in history.
SportsBeat is brought to you by Ken Garth. We hear you.
We continue our preview of the NFL draft. Now it's time to give some love to the guys in the trenches. Scott Mitchell joins us to break down alignment, finally. Utah defensive tackle Lucky Fotu. He was a dominant run stopper in college. How will his skills translate to the NFL, Scott?
Well, he's not only a run stopper, this guy is an athlete. So I look at him and I go, this guy is a graceful beast. He has so much athleticism for a big guy, and he's not small. I mean, he's a tall guy.
He's a beast.
A lot of tackles, defensive tackles, are kind of squatty guys. So here he is. He's right here, and so we're just going to show he's extremely athletic. This guy can really move around, and he's got 2 guys double teaming him. He's blocked by 66, and he still makes the tackle. You don't know how hard this is. Here's Jaron Hall, who's a great athlete, fumbles around. This is Lucky Fotu right there. He's chasing him down, and he catches and tackles him in the open field. That is not easy. Okay, on this play right here, I think we'll see it again, but he's a defensive tackle. Well, you don't see it. Again, another open field, going by these so fast. And then right here in the open field.
Wow.
That's insane, right? So here's a guy who just, he shows up on the run. He does a great job, but he's super athletic in space. And when he zeroes in on the football, he gets to it like nobody's business. The other thing about him that's amazing is this guy has great discipline. So his technique, he understands the position very well. So he's right in here, and this is 3rd down and 14. So what do you got? Screen, draw. All right, he sees that it's going to be a screen. He reads it, and he makes the play. He does this over and over. This against USC. And here he is, he's being double teamed. He's still holding his position, and then boom, he gets off a double team, and then he's right at the quarterback. Wow. Super disciplined at understanding his position and where he fits on the defense. There's so many times that he makes plays for other people because he's in the right position. And then he's got this tremendous leverage. And for a big guy, this is super hard because these guys, it's hard to bend over, right? So here he is right here, and as they snap the ball, he stays where he's supposed to be. He works around and it's like a little game that he's playing, but he's got great leverage. And then on this one right here, he's being double teamed. He splits the double team.
Wow.
And is part of making the play.
Just blows it up.
And it's because he's a big guy, but he stays and plays low. So when you have a defensive tackle, extremely athletic, who understands where he fits in the defense, he's a guy that really has a good sense of football. And Leki Fotu is a great leverage player, and he's a surprise. He was one of the top-rated defensive players in the Pac-12, and he'll get drafted. He'll be somewhere. He gets in the right situation. He could play on a 4-man front, or he could play that nose in a 3-man front, but he's a guy who can really play, understands defense, and he'll be a guy that has a good career. It's surprising.
Shocking. Another you with a good career in the NFL.
JJ, every guy we preview is like,
great.
these guys are legitimate guys that are going to have good, long careers in the NFL.
Well, why isn't he higher on draft boards?
I think part of it is he's a guy that's like, he's kind of, when you have a dominant defensive end who is like an Ndamukong Suh or one of these, just where they're just so dominant, and he's not quite that player. He's a player that can play and play solid in the NFL for you, but he's not going to be. I mean, he could because he has the athleticism, but sometimes he lets the guy get too much of him, and he's got to learn to get an edge and not give as much of his body to the offensive lineman. And if he does that, he's a guy that can get to the quarterback.
He was a tight end at Harriman High School. I watched him win a state championship.
You can see the athleticism. I'm serious. It's awesome.
He's added like 100 pounds since then, but that's cool to see. Leki Fotu is going to get drafted.
Great stuff, guys. All right, good news for the future of the BYU-Utah Hoops rivalry. Those two sides have renewed their agreement to play on an annual basis, at least for the next 4 seasons. They're scheduled to play each other through the 2023-24 season.
Before March Madness became a part of pop culture, there was a time back in the 40s and 50s when the NIT tournament was a bigger attraction than the NCAA tournament. The Utah basketball team won the NIT title in 1947. We continue our series with Utah legend Arnie Ferrin. Now 94 years old, he looks back on that historic win over Kentucky.
A team that's turned out to be one of the most colorful in the land. They have a number of nicknames. The Redskins, which is official, the Blitz Kids, the Cinderella Cagers, and from the Bobby Sox Brigade, Cute Utes.
We were a pretty balanced team with offense and defense. Madison Square Garden's a fun place to play.
Introducing Arnie Ferrin, highest scoring guard in collegiate ranks and playmaker deluxe of the Utah aggregation. All-American center Vern Gardner, voted best all-around player at the National Invitational Tourney in New York. Forward Leon Watson. Fred Widener, a real team player on both offense and defense. Wat Masaka, midget of the squad, one of the finest ball rustlers and floor players in the business. Dick Smoon, guard. Lyman Clark, workhorse of the Utah squad, or they call him Lyman the Skyman.
Those 2 wins were mostly Utah players. Vern, I think, was the only one that wasn't from Utah.
It's the night of the ball for our Cinderellas, the National Invitation Tournament in New York. The dark-shirted Roaring Wildcats of the University of Kentucky are overwhelming favorites.
Probably a better team than Dartmouth was. And it was Kentucky, and I was at the service one of the Kentucky players. And after that game, it's a funny thing to remember, Phil gave us $20 to go out and eat. Staying in the same hotel. Kentucky coach gave their players a $100 bill to go out and eat.
Utes strike right back, moving with precision and superb passing. There's one to Ferrin, and he doesn't waste that shot. But the Utes keep tying it up with the quality of their ball hawking, the finesse of their team play, and the shooting of All-American Arnie Ferrin. It's the seesawingest battle of the whole tournament.
Ralph Beard probably was the best player in the country. Ralph Beard didn't make a basket in that game. And he scored 1 point, I fouled him.
Gardner's the blonde bombshell of this battle. He passes to Ferrin, who whips it over to Widener. And it's 2 more on the scoreboard as Utah leads 27-21 at the half. Gardner comes up with it, moves to the Kentucky defense zone. There's a perfect pass to Ferrin, and Arnie hooks it in. Something for Utah backers to howl about.
Frank Gardner is with one. He wanted from Starville. He wanted to come down and play at Utah. I don't know if they recruited him or not. but he made a difference for us in that he was big.
Throughout the entire game, Vern Gardner displays the stuff that makes him the sports writer's choice for most valuable player.
I remember the fact that we won the championship and by 6 points, that the games were that close. So I think probably our strength was that we played well in tight situations.
Sport fans, you're seeing the best of the nation's basketball brigade on parade.
The Kentucky team that we beat that year, next year was the United States Olympic team. If they'd won it in '47, we would win the Olympic players. I was kind of felt like in life, maybe 1 year too late, 1 minute too late, things like that. And so I guess we could say that we beat the team that won the Olympics for the United States. And you can't compare those things, but it's nice to say it to somebody else.
With seconds to go and trailing by 4 points, Kentucky tries desperately to stay in the game, but it's all over. The Redskins of the nation's rage in the cage. Utah's great team and their coach. Truly the Cinderella team of basketball.
It was a great win for us.
What a great moment that was in Utah sports history. Well, we should have been watching the final round of the Masters today, right? Could Tiger have gone back-to-back? Well, Sam, we'll never know.
Yeah, but to help us feel better, we're going to remember our 5 favorite Masters moments over the years, starting here.
Years of frustration released by Phil Mickelson on this putt. On 18 in the 2004 Masters, probably the highest he's ever jumped. It was Lefty's first major championship, and he won it with a birdie on the final hole, the first of 3 Masters wins for Phil.
You guys remember Larry Mize? He grew up in Augusta, watched several Masters tournaments as a kid growing up. He only won 4 PGA Tour events in his career, but his chip on the second playoff hole of the 1987 Masters, a magical moment at Augusta to give him the only major victory of his career.
How did he make that? One of the all-time greats, Arnold Palmer, birdied the final 2 holes in the 1960 Masters to win by 1 stroke over Ken Venturi. It was Arnie's second green jacket. He would go on to win 2 more in 1962 and 64.
Number 2, Jack Nicklaus won 18 major tournaments in his career. 6 of those victories gave him green jackets at Augusta National, the final one of his career right here in 1986. He was trailing the leader by 6 with 10 holes to play. He would shoot 30 on the back 9 to secure the one-shot win, and at age 46 became the oldest ever to win the Masters.
You know, Tiger Woods has had several iconic moments. Is this the best, though? A long, dramatic chip in the 2005 Masters. And then the fist pump. He went on to win his 4th green jacket in a playoff with Chris DeMarco. It would be 15 years before he would win it again.
How awesome is that? Well, the Utes had a lot of youth this season. Rylan Jones at the center of it all. Hear why he says they're just getting started and they'll be even better next year. That's coming up. And joining us now is Utah Utes guard Rylan Jones, the freshman. Rylan, first of all, I got to ask you about this whole COVID-19 thing that's going on. How do you approach all this self-isolation? What's a day in the life of Rylan Jones like right now with not being able to go out and practice with your teammates and being around them?
I wake up in the morning, look at my laptop, look and see what kind of homework I got to do today. Once I finish my homework, I usually do a type of run, workout, you know, body weights kind of stuff that I have around the house. Then I'll go shoot outside, get my shots up, then I'll eat, and then kind of just chill and watch some TV and then go to bed. not a lot going on.
Yeah, so do your coaches, or does the team give you some sort of workout or some sort of plan that they want you to kind of try to stick to as best as you possibly can right now?
Yeah, you know, we have like a Zoom call every Tuesday, the last 2 Tuesdays, and then our strength coach, Rock, he sends us like workouts that we can do with the equipment that we have access to. You know, some of us have some dumbbells at home, or some people don't have anything, and, you know, they got to do push-ups and sit-ups and try to find bags with rocks, you know.
What was that whole transition like for you, going from being a star player, winning a state championship, to being a brand new face on a college Division I Pac-12 basketball team?
I wasn't really sure what was going to happen, but I was looking forward to it, and I just put my head down and worked every day. And, you know, I had a fun time. I had a pretty good freshman season, and we just had a lot of fun. And it's kind of crazy to believe that I was playing, you know, like our rivals, Skyline and Murray, and then straight to Kentucky. You know, it was kind of a wild dream, and I just enjoyed all of it. What moment was there, kind of the eye-opening moment that, hey, I can do this, I can compete at this level? That, you know, getting the triple-double was, you know, pretty cool, but, you know, we blew them out, won by 94. But we went to South Carolina, and, you know, we struggled that first game, and then we played better the second and third day, you know, and I had some good games, and that kind of gave me some momentum. And then, you know, we beat Minnesota, and I played pretty good versus Minnesota, and I realized that, you know, hey, maybe I can do this and hang with all these guys as a freshman. What about your first experience in the rivalry, of course, hosting BYU, game that went to overtime? You had a huge game against the Cougars, 25 points. I think it was 6 assists and 3 steals, and you hit that three-pointer to help send it to overtime. What was that experience like? You know, you dream about playing in the Utah-BYU basketball game or football game. You know, you've always seen the big shots that people have made, or the buzzer beaters, or the shots people have missed. And for me, I had both of those. You know, I missed a layup and then made a 3. So, you know, it was just kind of went from being really bad to a lot of fun, and we came out with a win, and that's a night that I won't forget. And it was just a blessing to be able to play in that rivalry game. So as a freshman with one season behind you now, where do you feel like the next step is for you personally and for this team that was filled with a lot of freshmen and sophomores? We all liked each other. We gelled with each other. We had some really good wins and some bad losses, but we continue to get better every year, every game. And we're just coming into this next season, you know, we're going to win a lot of games. We're going to be prepared to win big, and, you know, we're just going to keep getting better until we can do that. How far away is this Runnin Utes team from competing, from being a serious contender for the Pac-12 title? You know, I feel like we're there for this coming sophomore year. We've got a lot of returning players, and then we're adding some really talented guys coming in, and we're gonna be deep. We're gonna have a lot of good talent, and the people that have already here play well together, and we're gonna mold those freshmen in with us, and we're gonna become a force in the Pac-12. All right, Rylan Jones started all 28 games you played in as a freshman for the Runnin Utes. Can't wait to watch you again this next season. Thanks for joining us.
Now for sports on this day, April 12th, 1997, Philadelphia 76ers rookie Allen Iverson scored 50 points against the Cleveland Cavaliers. It was an NBA scoring record for a rookie and the first 50-point game of his Hall of Fame career. Up next, BYU grad Patrick Fishburne. Now on the PGA Tour Canada is Tom Hackett's guest on the hallowed grounds.
The Hallowed Grounds, brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen.
Welcome in this week's episode of The Hallowed Grounds. Patrick Fishburne is his name. Corn Ferry Tour player, Fremont High, BYU alum, out of the Ogden area. And man, can he spank it. +6, is that right? +6 handicap? So, okay, this is how this game works. 2-hole challenge, right? First hole, you and I back and forth, blah, blah, blah. If you win, which you probably will, we'll go to the second hole closest to the pin challenge. If you do that, which you probably will, $500 Bushnell range finder. Brand spanking new. This is last year's model. We'll get Patrick the newer model. If you don't win, which won't happen, I'll give you a $100 gift card till you win to golf. You won't go out of here empty-handed. Are you okay giving me 2 strokes on this hole?
Seems like a lot. It seems like that's what I do out here is negotiate handicaps, but I can give you a shot. I can give you a shot.
1 shot?
1 shot.
1 shot?
Maybe 1.5.
Okay, I'll do 1.5. Let's bargain like that. Hooker Magoo, that's a 4! So you grew up playing a ton of sports?
Grew up playing a ton of sports, yeah. Played a lot of basketball, probably as much basketball as golf, and played a little baseball, and actually played tennis my senior year just to kind of kill some time.
Oh, wow.
So,
and did I read correctly, you were a point guard?
I was, yeah.
So when did the growth spurt occur?
I feel like I've been about this size since I was about 14. I was just kind of a bigger guard.
Hey, so you're an LDS fella, right? You went to BYU, you're married?
Married, yeah. My wife's a nurse over at McKay here in Ogden.
So. Oh, so she's one of the heroes right now.
She's on the front lines right now. So.
Oh, man. Well, big shout out to her.
She's hanging in there, yeah.
What's her name?
Maddie.
Maddie, we appreciate all Maddie's work and her colleagues.
Hey, not bad.
That's not too shabby,
not too
although
bad.
I don't know. It's probably where your first drive is, I imagine.
We're getting closer.
Yeah.
I finished my senior year at BYU in May or whatever, and then I went and played on the Mackenzie Tour.
Mackenzie Tour.
Yeah.
And you won?
So I played a half a year up there, then I came back, I had full status, then I came back and I had to win the last tournament.
Right.
To get the Korn Ferry card, and I ended up having 40 rounds and I won the tournament.
Oh, see, that's going to be short. And you're giving me 1.5. So don't do math on air, but I think Patrick has the advantage.
I think there's a good chance.
Just for argument's sake, I need to prove my worth.
Okay. Nice. Nice.
There you go. I won't.
Oh, he's going to give it to me.
Yeah, yeah, I'll give it to you.
Gentlemen. Made my first hole-in-one on this hole, actually.
Oh, really?
When I was 10 years old.
Son of a gun.
I hit a little 7-iron in there from 120.
I think some people are going to watch this episode and just get angry.
Are you getting angry right now?
I'm a little agitated, yeah. That is pretty. Oh, son of a bee sting. We must stay 6 feet apart, and you did beat me, so stay away from me, please. But pleasure doing business with you. Congratulations on the brand new Bushnell.
Thank you.
I will. I'll have it to you shortly. I promise.
Appreciate that.
And best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
In the future, we'll be following. Okay, and I'll be writing articles on you. So I'll give you some pub now that I know you better.
Appreciate that. I need that.
It's been a pleasure. So thank you, Patrick Fishburne, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No worries. All right, Patrick Fishburne, you saw him play, rather impressive. Hey, his strength, one of his many strengths, I should say, is his driving ability. So Patrick, in a minute or two, if you could just explain kind of your setup, some of the things you think about when you step up on a tee box, and how you are able to generate so much power. I mean, your body obviously helps, you know, you're 240, 6'5", you should be playing football, but nonetheless, if you could just set up and kind of walk us through what you think about and a few of the keys that you utilize on the tee box.
Yeah, so the first thing I do when I'm looking at a tee shot, I try to pick a small target, and so with this shot, I'll pick that tree in the distance and try to pick a really small target and focus in on that. If I look out there and just think hit fairway, then my miss is going to be huge. And so what a lot of the people do that I think, the guys that I play with, they hit down on the driver. Their angle of attack is down, which creates a lot of spin and a lot of dispersion in their shot. And so what I think about with the driver is hitting up on it, and the way I do that is I start with a little wider stance. I put about 60% of the weight in my back foot, about 40 in my front foot, and then I just think about having a lot of width and a little pause at the top and just let it go.
Wow. But the other thing I will say quickly before we go is you tee the ball up quite high. Yeah. I feel like in comparison to most people I play with, granted, I think you're the first pro I've ever played with. Do most pros tee it up as high as you do? I
think so. It just depends on the shot you want to hit. If there's a wide open hole that I just want to send one, then I'll tee it as high as I can and just try to launch it as high and far as I can. But if it's a narrow shot or something that I just want to get one in play, I'll tee it down and kind of hit a punch cut type of shot. So it kind of depends on the hole.
That's cool. Patrick, it's been a pleasure. That's your pro tip of the week, brought to you by Netway Subaru.
Hello, I'm Phil Deimling with TaylorMade Golf. I'm the sales rep for Utah, and I'd like to talk to you about the 2019 TaylorMade Metalwoods. To start off with, starting to hear a lot in the industry, everybody talking about speed. So at TaylorMade, we're talking about our speed-injected twist face. What twist face does, because people, it's a funny name, twist face. What is it? Is the face twisted? I have a kind of a blown-up version, exaggerated version of what twist face actually is. And this shows you kind of the shape of what twist face is.